Welcome to The Secret Place with Bennett, devotions for hungry hearts and searching souls. Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to The Secret Place with Steffa. This is from Everything Belongs, Richard Rohr, and it's about the contemplative life. True contemplation, true religious experience, dissolves the fortress of I by abandoning its defenses. It looks out from a place of perfect simplicity. You can't stay there, I know, but if you know this simplicity once, it's enough for a whole lifetime. If the veil parts once and you know life is radically okay, then you are, to use the normal Christian language, a child of God. You are in union. There is nothing to prove, nothing to attain. Everything is already there. It is simply a matter of recognizing and honoring and trusting. All spiritual disciplines exist to help you trust this personal experience of yourself, which is, not surprisingly, also an experience of God. People are usually amazed that the two experiences coincide. When we know God, we seem to know and accept our own humanity. When we meet ourselves at profound levels of recognition, we also meet God. We don't have any real access to who we are except through Him. And we don't have any real access to God except through forgiving and rejoicing in our own humanity. Humanity is a good thing. It's not an evil thing. Humanity is something that God created, and there's a sacredness to what it means to be human. I have the honor of teaching a class on artificial intelligence this spring, and that's part of what I'm going to bring into it. Is not to be afraid of artificial intelligence, because to rather appreciate the fact that, we are human, human, and that's a pretty good deal. That's a wonderful thing. For about 400 years at least, the Christian church at large has not talked about contemplation. It's in many ways not a lost art, but something that I think people relegate to Eastern mysticism. Maybe it's something more about Buddhists or Hindus. But no, it's a very rich tradition in Christian history. And Rohr talks about it. Richard Rohr talks about it. It's something that, it's one of the reasons why my dissertation, I called my dissertation The Disappearance of Silence, and then 20 words after it, because I really wanted to look into what silence does in terms of the contemplative life. And like 500 pages later, this was many years ago, but 500 pages later, the need for silence and the need for a contemplative mind has only increased in our ever saturated media culture. I think that one of the things we don't understand about contemplation, or the prayer of silence, as Jean Guyon would call it, is that it's not about saying prayers all day long. It's not about going away to a hermitage or a monastery, or for 5 hours and just remaining in quiet. It's not a monk's life. In fact, most monks today, still, they don't have a contemplative life. The contemplative life comes from the contemplative practice. And that practice is not so much about constantly addressing God. Oh God, I'm here. Are you here? Lord, have mercy. Help me. It's not like, that could just be like, prayer worrying, or praying your problem, or being obsessed with God. I don't like the way that sounded, but I think we can have an obsession with prayer that is very, very different than the contemplative life or the practice of contemplation. And it's not always good, because we need to focus. The contemplative life is a life that takes that communion with God, that quiet knowing and practice of communion with God, and becoming comfortable in His presence and entering in as we used to say, to his presence. And then walking that out every day in everyday life. That's why I always mention Francis of Assisi. I love Francis and what he brought to the Christian church, because he didn't the Franciscans who emerged out of what he did not become monks in a monastery. They became friars and attempted to live the contemplative life, the simple life, the life of communion with God in the city, downtown, amidst the people. And that's what I appreciate about the contemplative life and contemplative prayer, is that as we embrace it and accept it and submit to a daily practice of it, we walk in greater and greater dimensions of wholeness. Wholeness and holiness are related. They basically come from the same Latin word. And have you ever known someone who's like prays constantly, but their life seems to be a mess? Like they're always worried. I'm sorry if you do know someone like that, but there are a lot of people like that, and we could easily become that too. Contemplation helps stem that kind of experience. It helps us walk in wholeness instead of worry, peace instead of a press for perfection. And I just like to encourage you to do that. Breathe, listen, and receive. Take a moment to soak it all in. Until next time.